Thank you for tuning into this episode of Rank the Movies. We're talking horror movies for the next couple of weeks. Being October, we're talking about scary films. This week I've chosen another one of my favorite horror films of all time. It's not really genred, much like The Frighteners, which isn't necessarily a ghost story, and it's not necessarily a slasher. This one isn't either. This is Stephen King's Maximum Overdrive. I got my nice Blu-ray copy there. I don't have a VHS copy to display because I don't have a VHS copy of this movie. I'd love to. I have a really small refrigerator magnet, but it would not play on camera, so it's not worth bringing in. Anyways, Maximum Overdrive is the only movie ever directed by Stephen King. That's right, he directed one movie in his entire career, and it is Maximum Overdrive. A lot of people hate this movie. I love this movie. I've loved it since I was a little kid. This is the horror movie I grew up with, man. Stephen King doesn't like this movie because he spent basically its entire production coked out of his mind. It doesn't remember a lot of it or why he made the choices that this movie has made. But I think it's a really, really cool movie. One day, electronics start popping to life. It starts the bridge that is raising on its own, causing a lot of damage and destruction, and it moves on to the cars, vehicles, semis primarily, but other vehicles start, diesel-powered vehicles primarily, but other vehicles also start to come to life. Hair dryers come to life, RC cars come to life, a bulldozer comes to life, a steamroller comes to life, soda machine comes to life. And they start killing people. A turkey or an electric knife comes to life. It tries to kill someone. Arcade machines electrocute someone. It is a madcap idea, but it's so fun. Basically, you have Emilio Estevez, who plays a parolee who's working at a truck stop in the kitchen. And when everything comes to life, basically everyone gets sealed into the truck stop. Other people try showing up and do show up. A newlywed couple, one of them played by Yasmine Bleeth, Yardlene Smith, the voice of Lisa Simpson. So this is a physical role for the voice of Lisa Simpson, so that's really cool. They actually get in, the semis are circling the building. They're just kind of trapped there at first because they can't leave because the semis will just run them over and kill them. And they can't leave, but the semis can't get them because the truck stop does have a basement. So any semi that tries to push through this place is going to end up going through the floor into the basement. So they're at a stalemate. After one night of being stuck in the basement and crawling through the sewers to get beyond the trucks to save a kid and find a dying Bible salesman who was hit by a car, they find out that the semis need gas. They need gas so they can keep running because they're still running on their engines. And so the humans now become slaves to these machines as they are forced to pump gas all day. I think it's a summer day, so it's a hot summer day, and they're forced to pump gas for the entirety of the day as they're trying to figure out how to deal with it. And they bring in light machinery, a military vehicle with a turret gun on top. So now it's a light vehicle that could enter into I'm trying to remember the truck stop's name. I just remember it ends in Boy. It's something Boy, and now I can't remember, and I don't know if it's going to be on the case in any moment that I want to spend actually looking at it. No, I'm not seeing it on here real quick, but it's something Boy. Anyways, it's the truck stop that they're all stranded in. And so they come up with an idea to escape, and they want to get on a boat and go to an island that has no electricity and no cars. It's just an island where they can be safe until this whole thing blows over. It's never made clear what the cause is. They give 3 different answers throughout the movie, through text and other things, which I think is amazing. I think it's a lot of fun. You get some great effects in this movie, and some that I wish survived and you could see. Apparently, Stephen King had planned for a character to be killed by a steamroller, and they put a bag of blood there with the idea that it would be like a printing press where it hit the bag of blood, and then it would smear on the big drum wheel of the steamroller, and then just kind of smear on the grass. But it didn't work that way. It kind of worked. Apparently it worked like a tube of toothpaste. So the steamroller came in and hit the bag, and it just exploded. You couldn't use it because it would have given him an NC-17 rating. But I think that was a fun scene to see, like, footage of, like, the amazement of these people. It's a very interesting movie because it uses practical effects. You have a lot of radio-controlled vehicles, like giant semis. That are radio controlled, and it's one of the few examples of people not knowing what a property would be worth in the future, because the main villain of this movie obviously is a truck. The main villain of this movie is a truck, and it's a toy truck, big semi-toy truck, and on the front of it is the Green Goblin head from Spider-Man. The Green Goblin from Spider-Man is the front piece of this truck because they were able to get the rights to it pretty cheap back in 1980. True, what year were you made in? You're 86. Back in 1986, this movie's 1 year older than I am. Back in 1986, they were able to get those rights pretty cheap to stick the Green Goblin head on the front of that truck. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty amazing. Also, AC/DC does all the music for this movie. They actually, their album is called Who Made Who, and that is the soundtrack to this movie. So this is one of those weird pieces of history, of movie history, of horror history, that just kind of sits there because you've got, it's the only movie Stephen King ever directed. The entire soundtrack is AC/DC songs, original AC/DC music for a lot of it. And yeah, you just have all these things that you don't normally see. There's plenty of Stephen King movies out there, but none of them are written and directed by Stephen King. No, only one movie holds that right. And that is Maximum Overdrive. If you've never seen the film, check it out. It is a good time. It's an hour and a half. It's definitely worth the ride. But yeah, check out Maximum Overdrive. It's a good movie. Alright, classic Halloween time. I don't have a display for this one either, mainly because, again, it's in a multi-pack. It's in a multi-pack with other ones, and the cover is literally displaying the Christmas. It's the Garfield Halloween special. It's a classic Halloween special. You have Garfield and Odie decide to go trick-or-treating, and they end up being confronted by a ghost, an actual ghost. And it's just a fun, good Garfield stuff. I love that one. I've loved it since I was a little tiny person, and I enjoy it. It's a good Christmas special. If you've never checked out the Garfield Halloween special, check that one out too. It's definitely worth your time. Alright, so that will do it for this week's video. Next week I'm covering one more horror film before we move on down the line to some other films that I want to talk about. As we wrap up, again, we just ramped down from the 1 year, from the 100th episode. Now we're ramping up to the 2 years. But we're going to get there in due time. But first, we got one more horror movie to cover. It's going to be a good time. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe so you don't miss any content. If you got something to say, hit me with a comment. Otherwise, I will see you next time. I am Martin Prevost. This is Rank the Movies, and I will see you later.